It's nice to speak with all of you at this moment as we approach the Feast of the Christian Family, a very important feast in our Polish National Catholic Church. And as the Bishop of the Eastern Diocese, I'd like to share with you at this time a couple of portions of Scripture. They're both from the Gospel of Matthew. And the first portion I'd like to read with you is Matthew chapter 12, verses 46 through 50. And here we hear that while he was still speaking to the crowds, his mother and his brothers were standing outside wanting to speak to him. Someone told him, "Look, your mother and your brothers are standing outside wanting to speak to you." But to the one who had told him this, Jesus replied, "Who is my mother and who are my brothers?" And pointing to his disciples, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers, for whoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother." Now, I wanted to share that part of Scripture with you because we often talk about the Christian family as being very similar to the nuclear family of Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. And so we often reflect on mom, dad, and the children. But Jesus is telling us in this paragraph that there's another aspect to the Christian family which is much bigger. It's all of us. This is being recorded during the youth convocation of our church this August here in 2016 in Manchester. And that's been a running theme also through our youth convocation, that we are all part of a larger family. A special song is going to be sung that's going to be shared with everybody that's also a part of this idea of the Christian family being a greater family, a family of God that we are all part of as his disciples. And we become part of that family by baptism, because although Jesus was God's only and true Son, we are also his children by the adoption of baptism. So we are brothers and sisters to Christ, and we are sons and daughters of God. And we share in the joys of the Christian family, but that also places on us a responsibility that as being brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers to one another. Another portion of Scripture says this, also from Matthew, and it comes in the 13th chapter, verses 54 to 58. And it says, "He came to his hometown and began to teach the people in their synagogue, so that they were astounded and said, 'Where did this man get this wisdom and these deeds of power? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary? And are not his brothers James and Joseph and Simon and Judas? And are not all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all this?' And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, 'Prophets are not without honor, except in their own country and in their own house.' And he did not do many deeds of power there because of their unbelief." Now, Jesus was in his hometown. He was with people who knew him from birth. He was with his own extended family, if you will. And Jesus' real family, his brothers and his sisters and his mother were there with him. And yet, the people who were part of that community, part of his extended family in the town that he grew up in, did not believe him to be the Son of God. And because of their unbelief, his powers were limited and his miracles were few. And that's because the people did not accept Christ for who he was. And we need to be very careful as we approach this feast of the Christian family, that this responsibility of our supporting and upholding one another, our fellow parishioners, our extended family in our communities, where we have our parishes, we need to support one another. We need to extend and project the love of Jesus to all of these people, because if they don't, then we shouldn't expect miracles. We shouldn't expect our parishes to grow. We shouldn't expect the love of God to manifest itself because we don't believe. The fact is, Jesus is alive in each and every one of us. We represent him in the community. We represent him to one another. And as we love one another, Jesus will be made manifest. So on this Christian Feast of the Christian Family that's coming up, I want you to think about this phrase. They will know that you are my disciples by the way you love one another. Let us love one another in Christian love so that we can truly be a Christian family for all to see and for all to be a part of. Thank you.